Greetings, everyone, on the sci-fiction awesomeness. My name is Owen C. Cutter, and you are watching sci-fiction on all digital streaming galactic simulcast channels. Today, here coming up in about 10 minutes, we have an amazing guest. His name is Mike Dubisch. He heads Forbidden Futures magazine, does a lot of stuff with science fiction, fantasy, and horror, and he's a brilliant illustrator. So we'll be bringing him on here shortly. Have some news updates we'll be bringing you. But first of all, if you have not followed us, follow us on Facebook, SciFiction, COMX, and TikTok at SciFiction. And don't forget YouTube right here at SciFiction Official, our YouTube channel, trying to get that up. If you like science fiction merch, we got stuff here at the scifiction.myshopify.com, or just go to the site and click shop, and it'll bring you to all the goodies. This coming weekend, we're going to be boom! Fan Expo New Orleans, January 9th to the 11th, 2026 at the Ernst N. Memorial Convention Center in New Orleans, Louisiana. We did a shout out yesterday announcing to all the fans, the fans, that we will be there at the Fan Expo New Orleans. A lot of great guests they have at this event. It's the 25th anniversary of Lord of the Rings. They have all the Lord of the Rings actors, including Hayden Christensen, Anakin Skywalker himself, John Cena from Peacemaker and wrestling and all that, Dominic Monaghan, Billy Boyd, Helen Hunt, Christopher Lloyd, Christina Ricci, Bonnie Wright, James Phelps, Oliver Phelps, Corey Feldman, a lot of Goonies actors. It's the 40th anniversary of Goonies this year. Boy, do we feel old. Christopher Judge, he's going to be there. He's from Stargate. He also does game of, I think, God of War, Kratos. And you've got Robert Davi. We were hanging out with him over in Childress, North Carolina, for the benefit for the veterans. Martha Plimpton, Joe Pantalania, Jameson Newlander, Judith Hogue, the original April O'Neil, Francois Chow, Ken Scott, Brian Toshi, super cool guy. We talked to him over in Tennessee last year. Ernie Race Jr., Robbie Rist, Alejandro Giuliani from Battlestar Galactica, Christian Borel. You got just tons. They've been stacking them on. You also have a lot of some of the canceled guests here. I was kind of sad about Garrett Hedlund because he was in Tulsa King, the new season. I don't know if he's filming that now. Maybe that's why he couldn't show up, but he's also in Tron Legacy, and we love Tron. See what else we got here. We got tons of animation voices. Let's go to all guests. Kind of kill some time here before Mike joins us. This is really fun. If you've never been to Fan Expo New Orleans, and they're not paying me to say this, but I do love the event, come on down there if you're in the New Orleans area or New Orleans Parish area, or anywhere in New Orleans, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, January 9th, 10th, and 11th. Absolutely a fun time. They have a lot of cool – obviously, we'll be on a few panels down there on Friday at, I believe, 3 p.m. If you, the fans, are there at Fan Expo, let me bring me back to full screen here on this one. So I'll talk to y'all. Boom, we're back. We're already there. So we'll be down there on Friday, January 9th at 3 p.m. CST. I've got a panel with my good friend Justin. It's going to be talking about none other than the state of fandom in the world of Star Trek, the state of Trek. Then at 6 p.m., let's get over here, 6 p.m. at the Ernst Memorial Convention Center for Fan Expo New Orleans, I'll be on another panel talking about the upcoming Star Trek, another Trek-related panel, specifically about Star Trek Academy and some of the new stuff they've got going on in this Trek universe. A lot of Trek. We love Star Wars. We love Battlestar. We love all of it. No, we love it. We love Stargate. Excited about the new Stargate series as well, coming to, I believe Amazon owns that. Somebody owns that. We have an article on the site. If you Google Stargate in the search bar, it'll bring it right up. We're looking forward to talking to Mike. We actually met Mike back at San Diego Comic-Con, I believe the year before last. And I was like, man, I need to interview somebody that does some amazing sci-fi. And I was like, so I was going through my briefcase, and I keep a lot of magazines in there. And there was a magazine. I'm like, whoa. And I started flipping through it. I'm like, this is amazing. So I'm like, we should bring Mike on to talk about his magazine, all the artwork. And I'm like, hit him up. And he's thinking the Quantum Leap rating room, perhaps right now. So we're going to bring him on whenever all the fans pour in here and get his captions on here. There he is, creator Mike Dubisch. Mike, his website is hisname.com. All right, we're going to bring him on. Everybody get ready to rock and roll. Here we go. Control interface. Mike, how's your day going, sir?
Hey, how are you?
Doing good. Just rocking and rolling. We're talking to all the fans about Fan Expo New Orleans, which we're going to be at next week, and talking about a lot of Star Trek down there. It's matter of fact that popped up. So.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I'm a huge Star Trek fan. It's
Me as
always easy to get into a conversation. these
What's your
days.
favorite? Like the favorite? We get two panels I'm on. So one's about the state of Trek currently.
Okay.
The next one's about kind of like similar, but it's the state of Trek, but about Starfleet Academy and some of the new stuff they're doing. What is your favorite Trek, and then what are your thoughts on all the new Trek goodness and Strange New
Okay.
Worlds and beyond?
This is so easy. Favorite Trek, Galaxy Quest.
Oh yeah, okay, that's a good series, right?
Favorite show, The Orville.
Oh man, the Orville. Now it's funny you mentioned that.
But
We
if we want to
actually,
get beyond, if we want to get into
yeah,
what we actually
of course,
is trademarked
right.
Star Trek. Uh,
Okay.
I honestly, where my biggest enthusiasm right
Mhm.
now is for the original Star Trek, the animated series.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna say I'm watching it for the first time. Sure, it was part of my Saturday morning
Mhm.
routine back in the
It's
day,
good.
but I can appreciate it on so many different levels now. I think partly it's that animation has come such a long way that at this point I'm just like, look at this. It soothes my tired eyes. I don't need so much spectacle. I'm like, oh my God, this thing's about the script. This is about the lines being said
Right.
and the drawings that are up there
Mhm.
as low and I don't want to say poorly animated, low
Was it
animated as it is. You know,
Filmation did it, I
yeah,
believe back in yeah.
limited
Mhm.
as the animation is, the drawing is fantastic, and it's
Oh yeah,
just
it's
so
phenomenal.
great seeing regular Trek with the original cast, but aliens that are truly out of this world. Plus, even like just creatures. A creature isn't just like, oh, ooh. I mean, of course,
Right.
I love tribbles. Everybody does, but
Everybody
I
was
mean,
tripping.
a creature could have detail and be
Mhm.
like interesting, and you don't question, you don't go, oh my God, no, this is so far.
Right.
It's just a giant, it's just a lizard with like
Yeah.
with wings pasted on or something. It's like you end up with like your imagination fills in the gaps, and then
Mhm.
it's just classic Trek writing. So
Yeah.
right now, that's where my my head is at in terms of what I'm really inspired by. Um,
Right.
Seeing different alien characters coming in as part of the crew, and
Like
just
this
having to
guy
be kind
here
of
that
fresh.
replaced the driver guy with the three arms was always interesting. Aaron Axe, I
Yeah,
believe his name or something.
yeah. It just brought it forward in ways, and
Mhm.
the fact that the kind of in the the common,
Mhm.
it's outside of what the sort of the general public realizes is actually good stuff. That you should, this isn't just some crummy animated show from
Mhm.
a terrible era of animated TV. This
Right.
is just genuine Trek that's that with the original voices,
Mhm.
and it's just the truth is and yet they were able to do things that the
Mhm.
special effects were way just way
They were
beyond the special effects. So the
like
era like
miniaturizing them down and stuff like that.
miniaturize them down, have characters where body parts were disengaging and doing different things in different places.
Yeah.
It allowed them, the writers, to be inventive in a way
Yeah.
they weren't able to be on the show. Just so it transcended the limitations. So that's what I really like. I've seen a little of Strange New Worlds. It certainly seems
It's good.
great,
It's a
and
cool
some of the
series. Yeah.
I'm much more familiar with Discovery,
Mhm.
um, which was just a phenomenal first watch.
They went to the
But
31st century, which had never been done before. It was kind of crazy.
yeah,
Wow.
once we went into the future, I think that's when I stopped watching it.
Yeah.
But before that, all the original seasons with Michael
Mhm.
and
Yep.
all of that. It was a great first watch. On rewatch, it was sort of like, wow, this could have been a little bit more like Trek.
OG trick.
I'm really not a huge fan of the evil mirror universe and all
Yeah,
of
there's only the original series had like a mirror. Mirror Darkly Part One and Two was Enterprise. Yeah, the Mirror was the
yeah.
original Mirror Universe.
Yeah, that I loved. When I
Interesting
was a kid, I
universe.
loved it. Oh, cool. We've got
Yeah,
we've got we've got evil Spock and the
yeah,
evil Kirk, and they come around a little bit, and it all was like, okay, it's a mirror But the idea that once we got into Deep Space Nine and we were like, oh wait, things are still mirroring. We still have all
Oh
those
yeah,
same
they
people.
did a
That makes
crossover
no
episode too.
sense. And then
We got all
I was like,
time
oh my
travel.
god, the producers are so focused that here we are doing the Discovery, this insane budget, and it's
Was
so
that Jason
beautiful.
Isaacs
And
came from the mirror universe, right?
yeah, I was like, we're back in the mirror universe. And I mean, even some of the characters were great, but it
Oh
still
yeah.
was just like, I can't believe this obsession with the mirror universe.
Yeah.
But once we got into Pike and Spock, I thought the show
Mhm.
improved, and I love. I'm sorry, my alarm for
Starfleet
this
Command's
show
calling everyone.
keeps
Starfleet Command's
going
calling.
off. So yeah, I haven't seen a lot of Strange New Worlds, but I imagine it's pretty cool. I have seen a little of the animated, the Lower Decks.
Oh, Lower
and
Decks.
quite good. Yeah, really funny and really neat. So yeah, in a nutshell. Please don't let me go on too much about.
No. I love Trek. We're huge Trek fans, huge Star Wars, everything. But Trek's are really cool because we're getting ready to do these two panels. Just curious to get your thoughts on the state of Trek. But
Yeah.
yeah, I like that crossover episode that they did with Lower Decks and Stranger Worlds. It's very interesting, bringing Jack Quaid and them into like live action through like the time displacement or whatever universe portal they did with time travel, I guess. But
Yeah,
that was
making
pretty.
sure that I mean, after all, we have Riker and Janeway in Lower Decks, so that making sure we understand that even though it's occasionally goofy and very contemporary, that we're still seeing this as canon, and yeah, no, I again, I didn't see it. I saw something about it, and I was like, oh, that's wonderful. That he joined
Speaking
the
of
cast.
artwork, and you talking about animation, you've got this awesome like whole universe that you've got here with Forbidden Futures. So when we first met at Comic-Con, I was telling everybody you had this awesome magazine, which I actually have the copy of it still. Can you talk about what you do with this awesomeness?
Yeah. First of all, working with publisher Oddness, who is also the graphic designer, and taking over as fiction editor for this current issue 14. But yeah, we started this, going back 7 years or so ago, with the concept of a periodical. That at the time we thought of as my concept was to get a subscriber base. I think that publishing sort of grew beyond that concept. So I think that we may still have one grandfathered in subscriber who's getting
good. It's always good.
But I'm not even sure about that. But somebody. But yeah, we started like that. I just wanted to put out an anthology. What we do is we go back to an earlier model for pulp fiction where we match a writer to an existing piece of artwork, and they write stories based on my art instead of vice versa. And so a good amount of Forbidden Futures is that, really just asking them to stretch their imagination and do something, just you take my wildest artwork and get them to give me their wildest writing.
Pretty cool.
So that's been the basic model. We also publish my comics and stories in there. It's everybody loves to see a little comics to break up their prose, and that sort of evolved almost right away to printing entire graphic novels within the context of the magazine. So along with the prose, we get comics.
You've had some pretty big guests in there as wrote, and some contributors, I believe. Correct, when we were talking at Comic-Con last time.
Yes, we've managed. We managed right away to get some great, well-known authors, and then that's just. I think the quality of work that they were giving us right from the beginning has been amazing, and we've seen some of those early authors kind of rise in the field since they
Mhm.
contributed to the first few issues of Forbidden Futures. But since then, yeah, we got Rudy Rucker to
Yep.
contribute, and he'd been kind of a household name for in my
Mhm.
science fiction loving household. Um, we had David Gerald, who in fact the creator of the Triples, who we
Yes,
referenced
classic.
earlier.
Star Trek
I had
right there.
met David
Mhm.
a local convention
Mhm.
when I was I think when I was living in um, anyway, Phoenix or San Diego. I can't
Mhm.
recall. At some point, a smaller show,
Somewhere down
not
there.
San Diego, and we'd been sat across from each other, and I ended up approaching him. And then Jan Stranad,
Mhm.
or I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly, but he had done a lot of work with some of my favorite comic book artists.
Mhm.
Um, such as Richard Corbin
Mhm.
and we, I had been writing to him for years, talking about potentially doing a project together. So once I had something solid built with Forbidden Futures, we came back to him, and so we've been working with Jan or Jan for several issues now.
It looks absolutely. I love the font. I love the style. I love the retro kind of homaging back to the old days of like kind of like I guess you'd say like astounding stories, kind of pulp era kind of stuff. Chris says very interesting. Great to hear this creative process. Thank you, Chris, for your comment. But I just love the look of it. How many issues are y'all at so far? You said 14, I believe, correct?
Yes, this one that we're highlighting right now is issue 14.
Okay.
So yeah, and we've got the first. We also have compendiums
Mm-hmm.
of the of all of three of
Oh,
the
okay.
first four in is in one omnibus.
Oh, you got a whole
And
campaign, like a big book of them.
yeah, we've
Okay.
got
Oh, wow.
yeah. So we printed we made omnibuses of number one of the first four, the second four, the third four,
Well, that's cool.
and then
I want
after
one of
that,
those, man. Those are cool.
yeah, the issues are after that. Issue 14 is
Mhm.
pretty much
Very cool.
um
This
is
is
pretty
some of
much as
your
thick as
art
an
here.
omnibus. So
Yeah.
we're
I
getting
want to
into
check
deep
that. Is that on the
territory.
site? The omnibus is on the your site, your website?
I actually don't know. I'll be honest. I'm this.
Yeah, you've
I'm
got
not
some of
sure
your art here for the.
why or how you're in this folder.
Yeah, I just said
This may be
going over
something
some
I
of the
sent
art
out
that
in
you had sent me, the horror fantasy. Is
the
this some of
heart.
your art or?
Okay, yeah, this is my art. Yeah,
Yeah,
this is just this is a we're in a folder of
all kind of goodies.
samples that I send out
Yeah,
for looking for comic book work.
yeah.
That's why I was just sort of surprised to see it.
Oh, it's all good. The
It's
reason I wanted
not
to
a
bring it
problem.
up.
This
Yeah.
is what we're looking at now. For
Yeah.
instance, appeared in Forbidden Futures
Mm-hmm.
in our fantasy issue number 9.
Number 9.
Yeah, and and that also appeared earlier in Strange
Mhm.
Eons magazine. So that's kind of a very Warren comic
Mhm. Yep.
style story called The Corpses Crusade. We were also looking at some pages there of Urashima Taro,
Mhm.
which was a Japanese folklore.
That's up here, I believe, or it was here. Go back. There we go.
All right, hopefully that's the last duck quack that we hear.
No,
And
it's
so yeah,
cool art, man. I
has
love this
a
art.
rather interesting kind of existence, but I think we're
Mhm.
going to see this back in print uh,
Okay, very cool.
very soon as well.
Very cool. Well, I got to ask, what was like? I know you're an illustrator and a really great artist. What was your like motif to kind of want to do a magazine like this, and just in general? What was like your gateway to
Uh,
kind of want to do something like this? I know you're
well,
probably
yeah,
interested in sci-fi.
sure.
Yeah.
Well, I had a lot of material in terms of comic book work that was
Mhm.
either had limited publication or was oh my god.
Starfleet Command's calling again. They need us.
That's what I got. I suppose each reminder alarm has a snooze that I'm accessing,
Mhm.
and then there's several reminder alarms. Anyway, hey, I was here on time.
No, you're perfect. That was flawless, man. That was absolutely amazing.
So anyway, yeah, no, oh gosh, I was lucky to grow up in a household
Mhm.
where, occasionally a copy of heavy metal would float through.
Nice.
If I combed the bookshelves, I'd find, old sci-fi,
Mhm.
Philip K. Dick, Asimov, of course,
Some
Robert
Omni magazines,
Silver, is my
perhaps?
favorite. So yeah, cool parents in terms of what kind of books we had around.
Yeah.
Um, I was very aware of pulp art, pulp
Mhm.
sci-fi. I would call, you know, uh, you know, uh, combining funds with my brother to drag home a big cardboard box full of pulp sci-fi at some point.
Do you still have
And
those? Do you still have
no,
those?
I don't believe
Oh,
I
man.
do. No, I
God, I'll be sick.
unfortunately,
Some of that
yeah.
stuff's worth some money, too.
Yeah, at this point, at that point, nobody cared, and they were being pretty much given away. And it's been interesting to that the there have been times it's oh yeah, sure, 30, 40 years from now those might be worth something, and it's
Right.
just like, oh wow, 30, 40 years passed really fast.
The paper's so brittle
What
and, like,
happened?
they call it the pulp. Yeah.
But at this point, when it comes to collector's items, I found that I miss them so much. It doesn't matter what the value increase was.
Right.
There's part of me that's always just like, I really kind of enjoyed owning that.
Mhm.
Anyway, so yeah, I love pulp sci-fi. I loved the art. I loved EC Comics,
Oh, EC's
and
great. They do, like, what do you call it?
and
Tales from the Crypt.
Tales in the Crypt, Weird
Yeah.
Science,
Mhm.
Weird Science fantasy artists like Wally Wood and
Wood, yeah.
Alf Feldstein and
Mhm.
you know Graham Ingalls, of course Frank Frazetta, Al Williamson. It ended up being that these artists that I fell in love with as a kid, they're still my favorites. They're still the ones
They're
that
great.
it's
Renzetta's
it's
amazing. They're all amazing.
yeah, and every once in a while, and every once in a while, new artists will enter the pantheon of like, wow, that guy really inspired me. I really
Right.
love their work. But it's hard to find other, it's hard to think of other than those same guys that I've really made an effort to make sure to keep owning everything they ever did and keep studying their work. And I read them and reread them. And that includes you know, the EC stuff,
Mhm.
but also,
Free comics code, too.
the underground comics. I love Richard Corbin.
Oh.
I love, I love Robert Crumb.
Mhm.
So, it was, it's been amazing to watch, Crumb continue to develop and all the amazing things that Corbin did in the last 10 years of his life.
A lot of stuff
Um,
he did before he passed. That's some great stuff, too.
yeah, just it was like he had a golden age, and it was like, oh my gosh, so
Literally.
much great stuff. And there was a book recently issued entirely posthumously,
Mm.
Dimwood,
Okay.
that was just a great gothic horror read, just full graphic novel.
Lost in Space
Amazing.
Collectible says thumbs up. We love you guys. Thank you so much, Lost in Space Collectible. They got some good stuff. Check it out if you like Lost in Space Collectible.
Excellent.
Yeah, I was just thinking like artwork. You've got. I was talking to several of my art buddies, and it seems like the legends, like a lot of the legends, are gone. Like the Jack Kirby's, of course. The OG legends. I
Yeah.
used to talk a lot with Alan Bellman, who drew for Timely for Captain America. He's just super nice guy, and you never think your buddies are 90 something years old and then they pass away. I'm like, wow, that's kind of hard because you think you're like 30 or 40, they're like 50 years older than you, and you're like, whoa, okay, they're gone. That's such a loss, of course.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, it's so true. It's so true. Yeah, no, I used to talk to Bernie Wrightson,
Okay.
every couple years. I'd see him at least here or there at one point we both lived in upstate New York, so I
Yeah.
sometimes see him around. And yeah, so I mean, his timing was early, his passing,
Jacked up.
but
Wow.
yeah,
Dude,
it's really is true the age of of all those legends. I mean, it's amazing how much you can take it for granted these guys,
even
and
Neil
then all
Adams,
this.
for instance, he passed away as
Yeah,
well.
Sunlade's gone. Oh my God, it's and at least now,
Mhm.
comic art is kind of getting its due. People are
Yes.
understanding that this isn't throwaway stuff. That
It's
this
what you
is the stuff
call
that
not just
is
collector's items, but
collectible
pop
and,
art. We call it
and
pop
can
art.
be very valuable.
Yeah. It's basically like they're, I mean, I was talking to somebody, actually I talked to Todd McFarlane about this a while back on the podcast. And he was telling me like, like when years ago it was always kind of like you kind of were made fun of people like with the comics stuff. Now it's like almost like a form of fine art of a way. Like you look at stuff like you're talking about Franzetta and Wally Wood, and that's like I mean that's stuff you could frame on your wall and has a conversation piece in your house. Like, what is this? Oh, this is interesting. It's very vibrant. Like, so what's the guy that did Stradenko, the guy that did like Nick Fury and all that.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
very
Steranko.
vibrant art.
Yeah, yeah. No, I was in a Zoom faculty meeting at some point, and someone had a Kirby framed on the wall behind them,
Oh,
and
that's
I
good.
just like, can we talk about that?
Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, it's amazing the amount of like the compendium of not just Marvel, DC, but you've got all these newer, kind of more modern publishers like IDW and of course Dark Horse and all the crown jewels of all the Infinity Gauntlet gems of all the pop culture goodness. One of the things I really like is I actually represent a client. Chris is actually here in the chat as well as Lost and Spell, a whole bunch of people, but he's doing a lot of stuff with some of the ones out in Europe, like the guys they have like Shift Comics and Scratch Comics, and the guys also that do what you call it, Judge Dredd 2000 AD.
Sure.
One of you mentioned heavy, yeah, you mentioned heavy metal. One of my buddies is a co-owner of Heavy Metal, the new version, like they're taking it back up. And I mean these older legacy, like I don't think Timely or EC's much. Is EC around anymore? I don't think they're around anymore.
What actually there's finally been a successful EC revival.
That's right. I did,
We've
yeah.
seen the stamp being put on mostly the various Tales of the Crypts.
Yeah, because they reissued that stuff. Yeah.
Like Scholastic or someone.
Okay.
Paper Cuts was it.
Paper Cuts
had the license for a long time and did stuff that never really caught on. I think the most memorable thing that they did. Let's see if this helps.
Yeah, good.
The most memorable thing they did was putting a Bernie Wrightson story under the Tales from the Crypt EC logo. So at least that kind of they gave us that.
They gave us something. Thank you so much.
Cool. But yeah, the Oni Press, which has been around for a while, doing very indie style stuff, and various kind of I think I sort of was associating them with a lot of maybe children's comics, maybe some American manga. They put out several EC titles or the titles with the EC logo. Their innovation is that they've given everything an entirely new title. Let's see,
fresh coat of paint.
Things like honestly, I don't seem to have any around, but they all have new rather than being Weird Science or Tales from the Crypts. There's things like Cruel Universe. That was one.
Okay,
sci-fi. So, and that's really fun. I actually don't live near a comic book store of any kind. So I don't really keep up that much. But they look like fun anthologies, and certainly love to contribute someday. To be honest, even though EC was defunct at the time, in terms other than Mad Magazine, it was one of
Alfred E. Newman.
Yeah, it was one of my inspirations. It was the notion of being an EC artist
Hmm.
was a huge inspiration around fourth or fifth grade to get serious
Oh
about
wow!
being a comic
So
book artist.
that was kind of your gateway into kind of getting into all this awesomeness.
Yeah, yeah. Before
Yeah.
that, I was sort of inventing superhero
Mhm.
universes, and stuff like that. And then suddenly, yeah, even though I was familiar with the EC stuff from my parents' bookshelf, I was, I got serious about trying to draw that kind of thing and publish that. So by the time it was like, sixth or seventh grade, I was actually, Xeroxing and stapling
Wow.
together, indie,
Very cool.
independent horror and science fiction
So
comics.
this has been a passion of yours for quite a while. All this awesomeness.
Oh,
And your
absolutely.
parents,
Yeah.
man, they sound like awesome parents. They got all the goodies just there for you to pick and go through. I was like, wow.
It's pretty, it's pretty amazing. Yeah. The fact that I had that stuff at my fingertips and that I was able to see, and grow up with, at least that, they're not, yeah, they weren't serious collectors, but my mom enjoyed a
Got some
lot of
good
different
stuff
kinds
though.
of art, and my dad enjoyed a lot some different kinds of comics, and
Mhm.
yeah, they were hip to that stuff.
All good.
They
I
were
gotta
actually
ask.
very interesting
Yeah.
people.
What was their background? What did your dad? What did they do like for professions and stuff? If you don't mind me
Well,
asking.
my dad was actually an astrophysicist who worked
Okay.
on the who worked with his name is on a paper with Carl Sagan, and he
Okay.
worked on
Yeah.
the space program, and he
Over the
eventually
Planetary Society and all the goodness.
he eventually dropped out when it became focused when his field became focused on nuclear weapons.
Yeah, that's kind
Um,
of a controversial topic for everybody. Have you seen the Fallout TV series?
I haven't, but I've heard
It's
it's really
great, man.
good.
It's absolutely
Yeah,
Walton Coggins. You're nailing out of the ballpark as well as everyone else. Hank McLaughlin, absolutely
very
phenomenal
cool.
job.
That's
It's
very,
just cool.
very cool.
Very
Yeah.
serious.
So my mom was a mathematician and a computer
Okay.
programmer, and was just a fantastic artist, figure drawing artist, and abstract artist in her own right. And my dad dabbled in art as well,
Okay.
and uh, built several handmade guitars
Oh, cool. Okay.
and used to experiment with making different flutes out of
Okay.
PVC. Seemed to be
Oh, and I got a story to
fascinating.
tell you about PVC. So, you mentioned my brother actually took a banjo and made his own banjo. Oh no, excuse me, well, not a banjo. What's the thing? The Hawaiian thing.
Oh, ukulele.
Ukulele, yeah. He
Yeah.
made that and he made it all custom. The only thing he didn't make is the strings. And then one time, the Blue Man Group, the guys that paint their face
Oh
blue and
yeah, sure.
everything,
So I've seen them. Yeah.
yeah, they came to my hometown, and for somehow some couple was drunk and they got access backstage and they gave him their passes, and he's back there for like 2 hours talking about how they're making all the instruments and what color glow paint they're using. So I come out to the garage one day and he's like, I'm like, what in the world are you building the whole flute, the whole thing in the garage? I'm like, that is insane. Oh wow. That's really, I was like, oh, that's quite impressive. So I get what you're getting at with that. I got to ask you and your family, your mother and father being into art. Is there kind of like there's a lot of comic creators and a lot of younger and people that are trying to take their stuff to the next level and beyond. Is there some like guidance or some kind of, whether they're just getting started or going on to kind of continue what they're doing or perfect their craft and to the awesomeness that they want to do and beyond?
I, I'm not sure. I would just say um, that the things that got me through
Mm-hmm.
the tough times of watching my industry, watching, hand drawn animation just sort of fall to
Oh,
CGI,
Pixar and stuff. Yeah.
and also just dealing, and of course that crisis of identity is like a tenth of what artists must feel now with the AI generated images.
Oh, that's
I
another
can't even
loaded
imagine the
topic.
frustration.
Great.
Uh, but I because of who I was, I always was willing to say to myself, look, if a computer can do it, your brain can do it, you know? Yeah. And
your brain is a
started
computer.
looking at CG. What's that?
Your brain is a computer.
It's
kind of
a computer, exactly. And I started looking at it as, you know, I had even at one point bought like some sort of CGI, you know, program. Okay. And I just started to realize it was easier for me to visualize what I wanted in my head, thinking about the program and what I wanted the program to do. And I was like, why don't you just skip that step? And instead of trying to wrestle with this computer program and make it work for me, I'm just going to continue to visualize, which is what I always wanted to be doing anyway. Cool. So for me, trying to skip steps, trying to roll with technology and use the tools that are there, have always just been something that took me away from the craft that was what I really wanted to do. So it was just easier for me to say, look, you know, if a computer can build a 3D space that, you know, on a 2D surface, you can, you know, your brain you can figure this out. If a computer can have basically a doll that, you know, a mannequin that it's posing in its brain, then you can do that in your brain. And if a computer can figure out where light is coming from and which direction the light is and where the shadows are, then you can too. And that was what I had to do. And it's a bit of a mind trick. And I think it's the same with writing, you know, because I know that not everybody draws, but a lot of people who are listening probably write. It's the same with writing. That blank page is intimidating. But in the end, you start making marks on it, and the next thing you know, your brain and your canvas is working together to create something.
Well, which brings up another question. You mentioned AI, and I've been kind of fascinated in dabbling with some of this next gen stuff that could be used for positive purposes. Like you look at this is of course not CGI. It's Matt Furr, the actor made up in the 80s as Max Headroom talking in front of like a vector screen or whatever. But you talk about AI and the positive aspects. You know, I had this, like, they've got these softwares now. I have a friend, he's a web development guy, but he's working with a lot of these. He's got a microphone set up, and it's all programmed in his computer. He's trying to train it for AI voices to where he can do create a lifelike avatar, kind of like Mr. Max Headroom here, where it'll sound like him, talk like him, and can sit in on Zoom and Google Meets meetings and just take over for him. Which I thought was pretty cool. So if he can figure, and there's only, we found out, me and him, there's only a handful of people that have figured out how to do this so lifelike and so real, you can barely even tell and distinguish it from real. But you can make it look like a robot or whatever you want. But I'm like sitting there thinking, like, if he can figure that out, then the short form content, giving away a little hints and little ingredients here, the short form content on these YouTube channels that are using this are just amazing. You can use it for anything like news reports, like Mr. Max Headroom, or whatever you want to do. And it's very hard to train you have to fine tune the AI, and the more photos you have for photorealism. But I thought it would be kind of cool. What I was training for was to see if I turned myself into an avatar too, and you can have it read scripts and all this jazz. But I was thinking, wouldn't it be cool to make it available in like the ability to turn it into an app, where you could have a social interface coupled with, like Snapchat and all the whiz bang filters and all, but you could do it to where you could have your avatar interact with other avatars and others. Because when you sign up on iOS or Android, what does it do? It creates a profile. So like a simple minimalistic profile. Then you can put in your little features and have an AI art engine, an AI modular system, have a live stream simulcast via API where they could broadcast all this stuff out to all their pre-existing social channels, because everybody already has this, Facebook and all that. And that would be kind of cool. So you build it, they will come. I tried to build it. Our programmer we had was just not cutting it, and he got gone. And it's just, I don't program, and the people I know more like back in development, and they don't do much application development. But if somebody were to create something like that, I think they could have something like, maybe like even Max Headroom. There you go. What are your thoughts on all that? That being used in that for marketing movies or whatever?
Well, first of all, because seeing Max, it's like seeing a photo of like an old like an uncle you haven't seen in a while. You're just like, oh,
Thank you, Uncle
here's
Max. We
old
love you.
Max Headroom. Always loved that guy. Um, what's funny is that of course Max was so punk.
Yeah,
He was
cyberpunk.
insidious.
Yeah, hmm
He was insidious computer program that popped up uh, at will.
his own hit
Uh,
show.
yeah, and yeah, exactly. Even that's what he was before the show, and then he stayed in character with the show, and yeah, it's he's just such an agent of chaos,
Yeah.
and
Plus, it was
but
illegal to have the TVs with an off switch in that universe, and the board meetings for
right,
ratings, for
yeah,
ratings.
yeah, no, he was the rebellion, and it's pretty ironic, of course, as always. It's just one of those things. It's just like, unfortunately, that's not what the AI turned out to be.
Yeah, unfortunately, not.
Max
We love
Max
you,
is,
Max.
for lack of a better term, I like to think Max had his heart was in the right place,
Yeah.
whatever chaos he created.
It's kind of
Whereas
cool
the
though that Bryce created him as a construct. The construct, the reason I didn't realize this till later when I was a kid when it came out, but
Yeah,
'87 I believe it came out. You had the British one first in the U.S. But the construct, the reason it glitches and all that stuff, because when Max Headroom is named after when he hit the thing off the bike and got a concussion. So when he scanned his brain, it was forming kind of like a child in the computer, and it was glitchy because of the damage that had been done during, I guess, the concussion by was uh, the journalist Matt Fur played. God man, oh man, it's going to come to me
that's
here
okay.
soon. Edison Carter. Edison Carter.
Okay.
Edison Carter. So
Well,
Edison Carter
rings a
was
bell.
the Pulitzer Prize cyberpunk journalist.
Yeah,
But he
yeah,
would pop up and he's stored in the Network 23 mainframe, which I always thought was kind of interesting from that. But they boot him out, sometimes outsource other computer
yeah.
mainframes. Man, that would be cool if they had that as a show.
Well, I think that is something that's actually pretty likely.
Yeah.
Is at some point. I mean, we've for some reason we for many decades now we've been living in a world where for reasons we don't understand, people create computer viruses that get out there and mess up everybody's
Yeah.
PCs and sometimes even their
Yeah.
Macs. But and who knows? Who are these people? Why are these people? What are they doing? What are their goals other than to mess with
Mhm.
us?
Or siphon money
It's
back to Russia or the Ukraine or something. Have you seen those things
maybe,
on 60
but
Minutes? Jeez.
I don't know. Mainly, it just fries our computers. So I would say that there's a pretty high likelihood that at some point in the future, that somebody, for some reason, will create
20
an
minutes into the future.
independent, chaotic AI. What we do
There's
it?
I forgot the show's Max Headroom in the subtitles 20 minutes into the future.
Oh yeah, exactly. So sometime about then, yeah, we're gonna see somebody create AI that is self motivated, self learning, not necessarily with a good heart like Max, and then we're in a whole new world. Even if that thing, even if there's somebody out there, some AI experts who's going to say that this entity, well, they aren't really an artificial
Right.
intelligence per se. They're a learning system. And it's just like,
Right.
dude,
Learning
it
system.
doesn't matter. You know, there's ply of people walking around who aren't a human intelligence per se, but
Wow.
there they are.
That's so true,
I
man.
think that
So
we're
I was
going to. I think we're
wow,
going to see some strange shit
very
happening in the
strange stuff. I
future.
mean, if you
But
look at the movies too, it's some
yeah,
wild stuff. Like the Matrix was more like in a simulation, but I mean, even movies like you mentioned, like the human aspect of the intellectual capacity for like the Idiocracy movie with was it Luke Wilson? That was interesting. I wish they make a sequel to that. But if you look at that film
we're living the
as
sequel. Or
Well,
maybe
yeah,
we're living the
for real.
movie. Are we living
but
the sequel?
yeah, but many people said that if you look at the overall universe, even though everything he kind of healed the universe, became out of the water, the crops, all that. But once it was fixed, the agricultural standpoint, it was kind of a utopia. There's no wars. President Camacho's having house parties on the White House lawn. Everybody's getting along, yada yada. And Luke Wilson's kind of like the next prodigy of. I mean, maybe his son is the new president, replacing Camacho. We don't know. But that universe, unlike the Matrix, which was set in like the end of the 20th century, where we were all plugged into computers as batteries, is a form of a utopia, whereas the Matrix was more of a form of kind of dystopic, but whatever. Then you mirror in stuff and just throw it right in there, like the Terminator. You couple the AI systems, like the rise of AI. It could go either way. It's a double-edged sword. It's not. It's tough because you could have both at the same time existing positive linear AI, and there's also stuff like, I mean, if you look at social media, right? It's a fragmented twin of yourself based on all your interests, all your friends, all your likes. Now you couple that with AI. What do you have? A digital twin. But is it really you, or is it like a Max Headroom copy of you? We don't know. That's the question to be asked. I mean, it's very,
Yeah.
and then it gets into stuff like AI laws that deal with AI art and copywriting, which we have a lot of that going on now. We have to have a write up we did on the site a while back. There's a lot of stuff, like even comic book art now. And I would believe one of the shows, I believe Marvel or somebody did the intro was all AI.
Yeah, they did that with Secret Invasion.
Yes,
So,
yes, that was it. Yeah.
Crappy. It has. It's funny that's. To be honest, I take a look at a lot of AI. I used to do more, but it honestly, at some point it starts to almost make you feel dirty. And no matter what the subject matter is, even if it's a sci-fi world of some kind,
Max, we love you, Max.
There's a lot of cool stuff being done. A lot
For
of
like
cool
solving
designs.
how the pure
There's
diseases too, and things like that.
Oh, well, I mean, yeah, but in the pure visual entertainment world, there are things happened when AI was introduced. The AI did come up with visuals that we hadn't seen before. I personally think that the new Fantastic Four movie, this is strictly conjecture, but I think it's influenced by AI design work because nobody was visualizing a retro future that looked like that until AI started splooging it out.
You get Ultron, and Ultron comes and takes over it.
Yeah. So, I mean, I'm not saying that, I think I tend to think that AI can't hold our interest for very long as an art, but that's not to say that there isn't a lot of compelling images. It's being used ever since the last presidential election. I feel like we turned a corner, and a lot of people are just going ahead and using it for political cartoons. Some of those
Marvel intros.
Yeah, exactly. And of course, all kinds of stuff. Nobody seems to, it's very unpopular when it gets used in something like Secret Invasion. I'm not terribly threatened. I'm more disappointed. I'm not angry. I'm just disappointed. I actually think that they could have supercharged visual programs like Photoshop with even more tools before spooling it out as a replacement for us. And then we could have had some pretty interesting things happening, like have Photoshop, things like coloring or stages of it being done by the AI. That now is just
not the full blown. Right.
Yeah. Now we just no, I don't touch AI. People need to know that this illustrator didn't touch AI. Whereas if they didn't been a little more insidious, they could have us all hooked on a million different AI tools for creating our art.
Speaking of art in 2D to 3D to AI, the OG art is kind of making a little bit of a comeback. We had a Disney animator on recently that was talking. He has a short film it's amazing. He did stuff like Lilo and Stitch, and
Yeah.
Lion King, and created Scar, and all the like the icon stuff from the OG. His mentor was, I believe, one of the original 9 old men from
Right.
Disney.
Right.
But we
Yes.
got into
12 old
talking
men.
about 2D hand drawn illustration. There's like you say, like AI is there's no real soul in it. It's just computer pulling from different resources and all that stuff. The impact of the just the human touch, the human soul, the visualizing like computer in your mind and translating it onto paper and making the cell animations and all that. And we originally, when we first started, we were talking about Star Trek and the animated series for Filmation. I've got some buddies that he worked with that. Well, not only him, but he worked with some stuff that predestined, Filmation. I have a few buddies that worked on
Yeah.
that too. Like one of my buddies, mom worked for Filmation, and she did some stuff, I believe, with Star Trek, but he actually did animations for the Star Trek the Motion Picture transporter scene
Oh,
when
cool.
those people get scrambled all in there, and what we
Yeah.
got back didn't last long. So yeah,
Yeah.
so there's a lot of stuff, optical effects like Ghostbusters, and of course pre-digital to the '90s with the proton packs and all that. There could be some positive aspects. As time will tell. We've got about 1 minute left on the shows. We're going to be airing this, by the way, on Subspace Radio Network, part of the Federation Charity Foundation formed with the
Oh,
original
very
Gene
cool.
Roddenberry himself. Yes.
Very
I want to
cool.
thank you for joining us on the broadcast. I want to ask everybody to check out Mike's website. It's down, it's down here. And first off, wrapping up right quick, is there anything you'd like to mention, or any things or any issues coming out real quick that you'd like to shout to the fans?
Definitely people should just go to the website at MikeDubisch.com. ForbiddenFuturesMagazine.com will also get you there. Also, oddness.us.
Oddness.us. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, thank
So
you so
all
much.
of those will get you to the same site where you can order the magazine. You can order various graphic novels. And that's issue 6. It was actually our NASA tribute
Oh, cool.
issue, so that
Okay.
might be of a special interest to some of the people. And
Yes.
just go gothic, ray gun gothic.
There
Go
you go.
retro sci-fi.
Yes.
We all freaking love it, and it's
We love you
almost
too,
like a
Uncle Max
golden
Hedrum.
age.
Well, Mike, I want to thank you so much, and you have a beautiful day. And I'd like to bring you on sometime again to talk about all the retro, awesome sci-fi goodness. Until next time, brother.
Thank you, man. Thanks for having me. Really appreciate it. Enjoyed being here. And thanks to everybody